The stunning machine you see before you is the all-new Mercedes-Benz AMG GT. It looks great, but it'll have to do better than that. Its main rivals are the Porsche 911 and the Jaguar F-Type, and our road test experts awarded both of those 5 stars. There are 2 versions on offer, the regular GT and the hotter GT-S. Big engine, big power. The basic recipe looks great. Power comes from a 4-litre, twin-turbocharged V8 petrol engine. It develops 456 bhp and 600 Nm of torque in its slower GT state of tune, which means 062 mph flashes by in 4 seconds flat. This version is electronically limited to 189 mph. If that's not enough, the GT-S uses the same engine turned up to 503 bhp and 650 Nm. That means 062 mph in 3.8 seconds and a top speed limited to 193 mph. Basically, this is one seriously fast car. Focus on handling for optimum handling balance. The engine is situated behind the front axle, which technically makes it a mid-engine configuration. The weight distribution is ever so slightly reward balanced, since at the rear of the car is the 7-speed semi-automatic gearbox, which sends power through to the rear wheels only. Making sure all the grunt gets down to the tarmac, there's a locking rear differential to ensure stable, predictable cornering, and a 3-stage stability control system which allows for varying levels of wheel spin before electronic intervention. Mercedes promises a highly sophisticated suspension setup derived from motorsport and, as it derives these days, adaptive dynamics, so you can instantly tweak the car's characteristics to your requirements. It's called AMG Dynamic Select and gives you the option of controlled efficiency, Sport, Sport Plus and Individual. There's also a manual function for the gearbox which allows the driver full control using the paddles mounted behind the steering wheel. Upgrading to the GT-S, customers plumping for the top-spec GT-S model get their fair share of extra kit. The alloy wheels are slightly wider at the front and 1 inch bigger at the rear, measuring a huge 20 inches in diameter. There's an electronically controlled differential for more accurate cornering. Adaptive suspension to tune the car's character more specifically to the task in hand, and larger brakes. The brake calipers are red on the GT-S, and the other way to spot one is the black front spoiler, its body colored on the GT. The eagle-eyed will also notice the leather seats, though they're actually man-made leather, so don't worry about the sacrifice Daisy made. Optional extras are very much on the menu too. There's an AMG dynamic package which includes variable engine damping, for instance. This offers the ultimate dynamic performance, as the car can effectively hold on tighter to its engine and gearbox when cornering hard, but then can loosen up when driving normally, which means the car is less rigid and thus more comfortable. Safety first. Mercedes is well known as the firm on the forefront of safety technology, and the AMG GT is no exception to the rule. Featured as standard are collision prevention assist, adaptive braking, attention assist and a tire pressure monitoring. Optional safety kit includes adaptive high-beam headlights, parking sensors, a parking camera, lane keeping and blind spot warning systems, and a traffic sign recognition system. AMG interior. The cabin itself features a wide central console, but it isn't cluttered. Rather, there are selected buttons situated on the roof like an aircraft. The multimedia system is familiar from other Mercedes products and is based around the command system, using a 7-inch screen to display the necessary parameters. You also get fabric sports seats and a sports steering wheel with a flat bottom. The paddles for shifting gears are made from aluminium too, just to remind you this is a premium product. You'll notice a liberal smattering of AMG badges for the same reason. We're expecting this new sports car to appear in UK showrooms in April 2015, but we'll be driving it before that to give you our definitive verdict. Prices are expected to be announced in October. So is this a 911 beta? And F-type bother? Watch out for the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT review to find out. Performance. The Mercedes GLA 45 AMG performance stats make for impressive reading. Like the A45 AMG hatchback and CLA 45 AMG coupe, the Mercedes GLA 45 AMG is powered by a 355 bhp 2.0-litre turbocharged petrol engine that can currently lay claim to being the most powerful four-cylinder engine in series production. In addition to its substantial horsepower, it also generates 450 Nm of torque, more than an Audi R8 V8. The GLA 45 is four-wheel drive and up to 50% of the torque can be sent to the rear wheels when required to help drive the car out of corners as quickly as possible. The 0.62 mph sprint takes 4.8 seconds, 0.2 slower than the A45 and CLA 45, and top speed is electronically limited to 155 mph. A 7-speed automatic DCT dual-clutch transmission is fitted and it's very tractable and efficient around town, although occasionally it hesitates to choose the correct gear when negotiating steep hills. Paddle shift controls behind the steering wheel enable you to change gear yourself if desired. With the optional sports exhaust system, the GLA sounds quite special, almost like a competition car with an impressive repertoire of snap, crackle and pop sounds from the tailpipes when changing gear. The only criticism, and it's a very picky one, is that the car gathers speed in such an efficient and undramatic way that subjectively it doesn't feel quite as fast as you'd expect given the on-paper stats. Handling. With all that power, you might expect the GLA 45 AMG to be rather a wild ride, but in fact it's anything but. There's a huge amount of grip and traction while cornering quickly is a stable, blunted and drama-free experience. It's very impressive. Although if you're looking for an exciting driving experience, it has to be said that there are cheaper, less powerful hot hatches that offer a bigger fun factor for far less money. With the standard suspension setup, there's very little body roll and the GLA 45 feels not at all like an SUV. It's very similar to the A45 AMG hatchback but with a slightly higher driving position. After all, that's exactly what it is. As an option, it's possible to specify the car with firmer AMG performance springs and dampers. It feels a little more agile and playful in this spec, although it's still extremely stable with huge levels of grip. The large, high-performance brakes deserve special mention. They're powerful, progressive and inspire plenty of confidence. As for off-roadability, that's not really what this car is about. It's a tarmac-only machine. Equipment. Standard Mercedes GLA 45 AMG equipment. Standard equipment on the regular Mercedes-Benz GLA includes DAB digital radio, a reversing camera, air conditioning and automatic wipers. In the center of the dashboard is a slim 5.8-inch display screen for the multimedia system as per the Mercedes A-Class and CLA. Controlled via a rotary dial behind the gear selector lever. On the connectivity front there's Bluetooth, a USB port to connect an MP3 player to the stereo and an Apple iPhone iPod connector cable. The Mercedes GLA 45 AMG rides on 19-inch 5-spoke alloy wheels in titanium grey with a shiny finish as standard, although other designs are available, see section below. They're fitted with 23,545 section tires, which won't be terribly cheap to replace. Inside, there's a combination of dark plastics and aluminium trim with red stitching on the seats and steering wheel. The seats themselves are body-hugging bucket-shaped items finished in a mix of leather and microfiber upholstery. Bright red seatbelts serve as a reminder that you're driving something out of the ordinary, too. Like the regular GLA, a small screen between the rev counter and speedometer allows you to scroll through displays and settings for the car's trip computer, Assistance settings and other parameters. Bit in the AMG's case also includes a lap timer function should you fancy taking the car on track. Separating the car visually from the regular GLA is a more aggressive-looking front bumper with an air dam section at its base and a twin-blade radiator grille along the lines of other Mercedes-AMG performance models. At the back there's also a big diffuser-style section in the rear bumper bookended by 4 large rectangular exhaust tailpipes. Optional Mercedes GLA 45 AMG accessories. There are 3 choices of alloy wheel design, including larger than standard 20-inch 10-spoke wheels with lower profile 23,540 tires in either shiny titanium grey or matte black. Normally the GLA 45 gets grey brake calipers, but they can be painted red as an option. An AMG performance suspension setup is available, with firmer spring and damper rates. Although this makes the ride quality less comfortable over long journeys, it does make the car feel slightly more nimble and engaging to drive. It's an option box only worth ticking if you're a particularly keen driver though, and if that's the case you're probably more likely to be looking at the A45 AMG or CLA 45 AMG anyway. The GLA 45 sounds quite special when fitted with the optional AMG Sports exhaust system, which includes a flap that opens at specific revs for extra noise. If you're happy to splash the cash, it does make the car sound more exciting. Comfort. Mercedes GLA 45 AMG comfort levels are higher than the A45 AMG hatch as the ride quality is a little more forgiving. It's still firm, but not to the point that you'll be left aching after long journeys. The deep-sided seats are electrically adjustable to help establish a comfortable driving position. They're comfy over a short journey, although longer journeys may leave your lower back slightly numb. Headroom is a little more limited than you might expect given the GLA's off-road stance, especially in the rear, although it is an improvement over the A-Class hatch. Practicality. Like the regular GLA, Mercedes GLA 45 AMG practicality is reasonable rather than remarkable. The boot isn't huge, although it is larger than the A-Class hatchback. Mercedes quotes a figure of 481 litres for the GLA compared with 341 for the A-Class, and load space compares well enough with other small 4x4s and crossovers. It doesn't really offer any great advantages in terms of access and egress over the regular A-Class, as the roofline isn't all that high. Despite the AMG's racier bodywork, it still includes roof rails as standard, finished in silver. There are useful tie-down points in the boot along with a 12V socket, and there's a further 12 volts outlet in the rear passenger section. Safety. Together with the GLA range as a whole, Mercedes GLA 45 AMG safety is yet to be tested by independent body Eurocap, but the regular A-Class upon which it is heavily based achieved a full 5 stars. Standard safety systems include attention assist, which monitors the driver's steering inputs and issues a warning if they become erratic. On the road, the GLA 45 AMG is extremely stable and sure-footed with impressively powerful brakes. A sophisticated stability control program is fitted as standard and features 3 modes: fully engaged, a halfway disengaged function, and fully disengaged. Reliability. Providing you keep the car serviced regularly, Mercedes GLA 45 AMG reliability should not be a cause for concern. Mercedes' reputation for reliability and build quality has improved considerably in recent years. The powerful engine is a fairly new design, so it's a little early to tell if issues are likely at high mileages.